Alright, hello there. This is going to be a review of the Forcite MK1 Founders Edition helmet. So we're down here in beautiful Tasmania, Australia. We're going to do a ride today that's called the Sideling, known locally as the Sideling. It's going to take us from St Leonard's, one of the outer suburbs of Launceston, over the top of a hill, Mount Barrow I believe it is, and it takes you over to Scottsdale, which is a nice little farming community, nice bakery as well. Today we're just going to be going up to the lookout. Just going to be talking about this helmet that I've got. So the journey started about 1.5 years ago, 18 months give or take, where I saw an ad for a smart helmet, and I thought, ooh, that's a pretty good idea, because the helmet that I was wearing at the time had a GoPro duct to the tape to the front. It had a cheap set of eBay speakers and Bluetooth. Oh, hello, adventure boys. Oh, in a caravan. Had some speakers and Bluetooth things from eBay sort of nestled into it, and it was my version of a smart helmet, which obviously wasn't particularly impressive. And so I saw the ad for this and I thought, well, that makes a whole lot of sense. And then I saw that it was Australian designed, and I thought, yep, you know what, I think I'm going to pull the trigger on it. And so it was 800. I'm just going to jump around these guys. Thanks, boys. I overtook them earlier and then I paused up to start recording. So there's a bit of orkies going around them again. Anyway, and so yeah, 18 months ago I saw the ad and I thought, yep, I'm going to pull the trigger on that. And so they had a limited release. Forcite said 1,000 helmets in our Founders Edition, and you get a few extra, nifty bits and pieces because you're essentially buying a helmet that doesn't exist yet. And so I paid the money. I think it was 800, 900. Some 8.99 I think rings a bell. For a helmet that didn't exist, and we were told that within 6 months it would be here. And so I thought, oh, you beauty, I'll buy it and it'll be here in time for Christmas. And then it wasn't. There was lots of communication, so Forcite was pretty good at keeping in touch with the people that had paid, obviously, and sort of that timeline got bumped into early 2020, and then early 2020 we all sort of remember what happened there with COVID, which interrupted a whole bunch of supply chains. And so essentially you had 1,000 people there or thereabouts, or 1,000 helmets that had been paid for that hadn't been delivered yet. And so understandably a little bit of trepidation, I guess, among the community that had purchased, saying, oh, this is a scam, now we've lost our money, we're not going to get our helmets, it's been too long. And then lo and behold, just in time for Christmas 2020, helmets came. Mine was, because I was towards the end of the 1,000, mine came early 2021, and so they sort of released them. As soon as they had the components for them, they were sending them out, and so there was 100 at first, and then the next 300, and then the next 300, and so on and so forth. Anyway, and so I got mine. My initial response to it, I suppose, is I really like it. I mean, I'm impressed by the build quality. It's very light, very, very light. Suspiciously light is what I'd say. I've never owned a carbon helmet before. All of mine have been plastic, and so it was confrontingly light is what I would say. But on the head, feels lovely. It's got the chin mounted camera, it's got speakers in there, and I'll give my thoughts on those in just a second. But yeah, the thing that struck me the most was how light it was. Build quality is fantastic, as I said. There's been a few reports out of the 1,000 that have come through of a few little things here and there. There's a drop down sunglass visor, sort of jet pilot drop down visor. A few people have reported that that's not working correctly on theirs, it's sort of getting hung up. Mine's working beautifully. My visor itself, which we had a choice of 3, so Founders received 3 in their Founders pack, along with a t-shirt, the handlebar controller, which you can see right there, and a few other bits and pieces. We received 3 visors, so 1 clear, 1 smoked and 1 iridium. I'm currently wearing the iridium and it is absolutely fantastic. Again, I've only ever had a clear visor, so I used to wear my sunglasses underneath it, but iridium visor is fantastic. Gives me just a little bit of sun protection, and then I've obviously got the drop down sun visor as well if I feel like I need it. And so yeah, the quality has been fantastic. My visor's working, you know, the way that it should. They came with some anti-fog inserts as well. I haven't had the need for that yet because it's been summer down here and summer's our dry season. But coming into winter, when I'll do a little bit more riding in the wet and you know, potentially when it's cold, then I'll probably look at putting in those anti-fog visors in. I believe they're making things compatible with pin lock. They're not at the moment, but that's another thing that I really like about the fact that I purchased this, is that the Forcite's very, very transparent. So it's a small bunch of people based out of Sydney, I believe, and they've been very transparent with everything that has gone into building this helmet and essentially establishing the company. They're up against big names, you know, Shoei and these other enormous manufacturers. They are very much the little guys, which, you know, to come out with what they've done is absolutely spectacular. I mean, the first smart helmet that I can think of in the world that has all these things integrated, and it makes me think, I mean, you know, obviously these larger helmet companies must have money for R&D. Seems like a no-brainer of an idea. So why did it take, you know, a bunch of 20 guys from Sydney to create it, to sort of spur this movement? I'm not too sure, but anyway, the fact is it's on my head. I'm happy. So moving on to the camera now. The camera, I haven't actually tried anything with the camera yet. This is my first time. Prior to pressing record for this video, I was down at Officeworks buying a card. I bought a SanDisk 128 gig. I'm not entirely sure how much recording time that's going to give me, so I can report back on that another time. But by all reports from other members that have purchased one of these, apparently the camera is very good. So I'm currently shooting in 60 frames per second. I'll double check that. I'm pretty sure I set it to 60. You have the opportunity to change that if you want to, the option to change it down to 30 frames per second. And so by all accounts it's very good. I've been particularly impressed by the low light condition camera results. So quite a few videos posted up in the Forcite Facebook group by people that are using them in low and dim light conditions, and I've been very, very impressed. I mean, part of the whole idea of having a camera mounted to your helmet is not only to get cool shots of dead wombats like that, but also to you know, to maintain safety. If you were to get hit or if you were to have a near miss, you want to be able to pause that footage and be able to zoom in and get license plate numbers. And so by all accounts that's very possible with this camera. I'm yet to try it, but that's essentially the goal. Certainly a concern of mine, having had a few near misses that were the other driver's fault. I want to make sure that if I was ever in a position where I was injured, that there's footage to back me up in, you know, in my innocence, essentially. Just on the camera side of things, I'm taking it fairly easy today because I can't do 2 things well at once. I can't roll. Oh, hello. That's my lane. I can't do 2 things at once very well, so I can't talk and ride effectively at my limit at the same time. So I'm just taking it nice and chill. Holy smokes! Hello, boys. Tons of them. Must be the day for it. So I'm taking it pretty chill, and there'll be people that will wear these helmets that won't be super chill, and there'll be times potentially where I'm riding and I'm perhaps straying north of the speed limit a little bit, as sometimes tends to happen. So Forcite very cleverly have added a mass delete function, and that mass delete function, if you were to hold a particular button for a certain amount of time, it is going to wipe your SD card. So, you know, if you were to be pulled up by someone whose job it is to enforce the law, particularly speeding, you could get rid of any footage that would have you potentially, you know, liable for your misdeeds, is what I'll say. So, you know, they're obviously thinking about the users of this helmet. They're thinking about making sure that the users are benefited and not hindered in any way, shape or form. So yeah, that's the camera. I believe it's a Sony lens. and yeah, watching the R&D happen and getting the post from Forcite as they were building the whole smart module, which is the camera and all the radar, which I'll talk about in a second, all the radar stuff down in the chin section of the helmet. It's been really impressive. It's been really, really fantastic to watch all that R&D happen. Obviously a lot of thought and effort and planning and time and resources spent in developing this, and I think you know, if I could invest in Forcite, I probably would. I think they've got big things coming. But anyway, so onto the speakers. Now speakers, this is, I feel, it leaves something to be desired. The general consensus in the Facebook groups that, you know, for the users, for the founders, the 1000 helmets, is that the speakers aren't adequate when they are not in the right position. And I believe the speaker pockets, so the speaker pockets are sewn together, so you've got a speaker and it's sewn in between 2 layers of fabric. When the speakers are in the right position, they are good. When they're not in the right position, which is the case with mine, they are not fantastic. So at 100 kilometers an hour, I can just hear the treble of a song. So if I know the song and I can recognize it, I can pick which part of the song it is. I don't think it would be fantastic for listening to voice, so podcast or news or anything of that nature. And certainly the bass, because I've had to max the volume out, the bass distorts and there's quite a significant crackle through the speakers. However, because people aren't satisfied with that, they have, there's been a whole bunch of people that have moved speakers. There's a whole bunch of ingenious solutions from the community coming through. And apparently the speakers themselves aren't the problem, it's just the placement. So I tried to move my speakers down and towards the front of the helmet to sort of better line up with my ears. However, the speaker pocket prohibits that. I've moved them as far as I can in the speaker pocket, and I'm hesitant to start to unpick them like other people have and use Velcro dots. That's sort of the main solution currently. The reason I'm hesitant is because I believe Forcite are in the process of coming up with a fix. So, you know, I can deal with, you know, limited music for now. It's certainly as good as my cheap eBay Bluetooth one was, and I'm happy to deal with that for now until Forcite comes out with something official, which I believe is in the works. And that's, you know, again, I keep rambling about it, but I think that's something that's really impressive about this company, is that they do communicate, and they go, all right, well look, if it's not performing the way that it needs to perform, we're going to start working on a fix for it. And so they've been looking at like headphone cushions and a whole bunch of stuff to put in. So I'm waiting for an official solution before I touch anything or unpick anything or you know, do anything too drastic with those speakers. But you know, I'm quietly confident that within another 6 months, a year, I'll have them working. Forcite will have them working the way that they are intended and the way that they know is possible. We're about to come up to our lookout, and so this will be the end of the video, but just really quickly, radar. So radar is a system of LED lights directly under my peripheral vision. It's mounted in the chin module, which contains all the electronics and the camera on the outside face, obviously. Radar so far has been working fantastic. At the moment I'm getting a red LED every 6 to 8 seconds to tell me I'm still recording, which is good. I've had radar alerts, so I've been told that there's speed cameras within, you know, 300 meters of my location. It gives me the street, and that's all toggleable. I don't know if that's a word, toggleable. So if you want, you know, alerts from further out, you can do that. But anyway, we're gonna pull up here. I'll bring the helmet to have a look at this beautiful view, and then we'll move on. That was not a great park, but anyway. Oh, could have done that a whole lot smoother. A little bit embarrassing. Anyway. And we'll beep that in. Alrighty.